Organisation delegates.
Okay, moved by Councillor Law and seconded by Councillor Neagle.
Just get the wording.
And comment, Councillor Neagle.
While we're talking.
Mr. Mayor, is it possible to make sure that that list of and that table is propagated to or distributed to all the councillors so that we can remember what we've stuck our hands on?
Can you take that as a good
Ability, Councillor Neagle. Any further questions or comments on that one, councillors? If not, I'll put it. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried.
Get the words.
Happy with that resolution. Councillor Law?
So we go to 5.3, that update report on the joint organisation. So again, the councillors that were there, we had most of the councillors there at the workshop last week, were giving an update on the New South Wales Local Government Reform Program that the state government's running, and they're proposing, which has been in the mix for a long time, what they call joint organisations or JOs. So they're basically come finally to the position where the government is now giving us till the 28th of February to announce if we want to be part of it. The decision's still voluntary for council to be in or out of a JO. Recommendation probably from staff would be that we are should join a JO. So the recommendation here is just to note the report and receive a further update report at the meeting, which I'm going to elaborate on shortly. And then January or February meeting we'll need to do a formal resolution about which councils we want to partner up with. So we've got a mover and seconder and some comment, we can talk further.
Okay, moved by Councillor Neagle, seconded by Councillor Longmire.
If I can speak to Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Neagle.
Thank you. An organisation where you can get a lot of councils together to enhance your procurement power, to enhance your strategy and your representation in government is important. There is going to be a lot of jockeying for position over the coming months, given the short time frame. I think it's prudent that we be part of that, but not drive that, and to see where the players lie, so that we can make the best strategic decision for the council going forward. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just ask the General Manager, we'll make some comments. Ramrock yesterday was basically about joint organisations, so we might get a brief update and create a bit more conversation.
So we had the Director of Reform from the Office of Local Government, Chris Preston, come out, and we also had Chris up in Sydney for some of the councillors that went to the annual conference. So there was a full roll-up, I think, of the councils yesterday represented in Ramrock. The discussion, the government have now allowed the Balranald and Wentworth councils to be part of this Riverina Murray JO if they want to be, and not just an associate member. So that's a bit of a positive for those councils that didn't know where they stood around that, because the Far West Initiative has not got a lot of momentum as yet, and there's still discussion that they might form a JO out in that Far West. So really yesterday the councils were presented with an options paper that's been developed over a fair length of time, because we initially thought this might have been happening 12 months ago, soon after mergers, or in some cases could have been before. So we finally got to a position where they went around the table just to get some indicative support or ideas about what options the councils in this Ramrock region wanted to go with, and the general broader agreement was to retain our existing Ramrock boundaries, with Albury being the end of it that way, and then all the way out to potentially Wentworth. But those councils like us have all got to go and meet. Probably one of them, Balranald, had a meeting very soon, but the rest are probably all January, February. Like, we will be to formally resolve where we go. It's got to be a resolution that's drafted by law, so the government have given us the whole wording that we need to, because it is done by proclamation once you're in the JO. Yeah, a lot of this. There were some groups, Murray possibly, and Murray, they did feel they could be a sustainable group. And then there's also a bit of discussion about one big one, including all Rerock, because the Riverina Murray planning boundary is what the government says you've got to try and work within, and that obviously includes all the Rerock and the Ramrock. So, but the discussion was that Rerock have yet to meet on their boundaries, and they'll possibly, at this stage, might be a bridge too far, so they might just go with the JO around that section, and Ramrock might, and member councils again, up to each council, but that's the feel we got out of the meeting.
It was nice to think that one of the options there was from Rerock was basically Rerock plus Albury plus Federation, so we're on the launch list from both sides. But it came back to when the conversation went around the table, there was only two councils I think that actually wanted a smaller option, and that one of those options was along the river. Of course the problem coming out of that is the expense, and the only way these organisations have ever become successful is by having a chairperson like CEO to do a lot of that work. The other suggestion was utilising general managers within the JO, but then you're tucking in your resources that are full up anyway. So the idea of the bigger model was most popular because of come back to cost. And originally when they were talking about joint organisations, there was also opportunities for whether it be planning, other facilities that you can tap into as a council. So I can't see, it's going to be very hard to get away from that large model because of the cost involved. Any questions, councillor?
Just add that there is 300,000 or around the order of that on the table from the state government to take up the offer to be in the JO. So it's obviously, as Councillor Meagle said, it's a way forward. Certainly a lot of people think, trying to get that state agency and council engagement on a lot more formal level, and not necessarily doing away with all the great benefits we get out of Ramrock. And obviously the Rerock Council, we think the same. We've got to try and discuss how they keep the benefits if they want to dissolve the ROC, or there's nothing, the government are very strongly saying you don't have to do that, so you keep the ROC and the JO, but it remains to be seen how Ramrock want to deal with that as the JO develops.
Councillor Longmore.
Yeah, Mr Mayor, through you, please, to the General Manager, are you able to say at this point in time, Mr Butler, in regard to what the affiliation costs currently are for Federation Council with Ramrock?
I wouldn't know off the top.
That's okay. I'm sorry, question without knowing.
Yeah, Mr Park.
I think, just rough memory, I think it's around 15,000, but
15,000.
I would stand corrected on that.
Yeah, okay. It's question without notice, so I appreciate that. I just, with the ballpark figure, thank you.
The concept is to get a voice to the state. So the smaller you go, the smaller the voice you have to, of course. Any further questions or comments, councillors?
Yeah, Mr Mayor, just another one, and reflecting on yourself and Councillor Law in Sydney when we did discuss the JOs, and they did come up in various conversations outside the conference. There was an indication that Wagga and Albury were sort of both wanting to be the leader of one of their joint organisations. We sat in both conversations as, you know, we need you guys, but you're not big enough to be part of it, was sort of the feeling we got without them out being rude. I'm just wondering whether there was still that feeling of Albury and Wodonga, one wanting to be a leader, obviously with Albury City Council, and in light that we have to make a decision relatively quickly, do you guys get to meet again or have off-the-record discussion as to where we do go, because the decision's going to come upon us, and we really don't know what Albury and Wodonga, Albury and Wagga are doing, and we've got to be part of the big picture to have any say on where that's at.
Thank you, Councillor Roger. The question was asked yesterday that obviously in the Ramrock organisation there was a clear majority of pretty much a blueprint of the Ramrock, the same thing. But the question was asked if we can keep the door open for Wagga. Ramrock's got a bit of a feel how they're running up, but we don't know how Wagga are. And there certainly was flavour for Wagga as well. So in the event that Wagga went two different directions, there still may be an opportunity, and hopefully we'll know that before we have to make that decision at February council meeting. I think our decision's pretty limited now. I mean, it's not done and dealt with, but when you look at the cost of running the organisation, think the only factor that will change that is what you're talking about, whether there is any interest from Wagga at all to come in. So hopefully we'll have to keep involved and keep talking to find out the outcome of that before that February meeting.
Thank you.
Obviously get a report when we base it on that. Any further questions, councillors, on that? It's quite interesting that we have to make the decision by the 28th of February, but there's no, the OLG haven't come forward with recommendations. They won't be ready until after that date.
Oh, the regulations.
The regulations,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Okay, all in favour?
Okay.
Against, carried.
Last one is just a really brief report, just to, it's 5.4, the January 2018 council meeting, discussed it at the recent workshop that we see a need to have a January council meeting. We recommended at the workshop a date of the 23rd of January, and then we can put that into our standard notification procedures as the council.
Move the recommendation.
Second.
Councillor Longmire, seconded Councillor Wales. Any questions or comments? If not, I'll put it all in favour.
Aye.
Against, carried. Okay, I'll ask the Director of Corporate and Community Services.
I'll just get, Kim's filling in for Chrissy.
Basically, most of these are information reports. The first one's to do with Light Up Federation for information.
Thank you, that's fine. No questions, councillors?
Yes,
Councillor Longmire.
is this available across the whole council area or anything within Corowa?
Can we get a mover and second for that? Would you move that, Councillor
Yes.
Longman? We have a second. Councillor Law. Councillor Longley, that question, is it available to?
As far as I know, it's right across the area.
Okay. Any further questions?
Yeah.
If not, I'll put it all in favour. Against, carried.
The second report is about public interest disclosures. Recommendation there to note the report and that the details have been included in Council's annual report and that it will be included on the website. One small change on the word form to from Council's website.
So we move to Councillor Law, seconder. Councillor Meagle. Any questions? If not, I'll put it all in favour.
Aye.
Against, carried.
Another information report, Code of Conduct Complaints Report. Recommend that the Council note the Code of Conduct Complaint Report has been submitted as required.
So move to Councillor Meagle, second to Councillor Law. Any questions? If not, I'll put it all in favour. Against, carried.
The next report concerns the what's called the GIPA Agency Information Guide. It's the way that we deal with government information and how we provide that when requested, and it meets the requirements of the guidelines that we operate under and the Government Information Public Access Act 2009. And of course, unfortunately, we receive requests like this usually every couple of weeks, where someone's seeking information to do with some operation of council. In the case where third parties involved, we're required to contact those to ensure that releasing any information has their approval, and that when we give out information that's in under the Act, that it's within the realms of the public interest.
We've got a move to Councillor Law, second Councillor Longley. Questions, councillors? If not, I'll put it all in favour.
Aye.
Against, carried.
Further, that the annual report
Councillor Meagle, seconded Councillor Law. Questions or comments, councillors? Motion carries. Yes, I'll just ask the general manager to make a comment to it.
So thanks, Mr Mayor. Report 6.6 is the ballpark caravan park. So the
We haven't moved that.
Point of order,
Oh,
Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry, I thought we had, did we have mover?
Yes.
Yeah.
We just hadn't put the vote in.
sorry. Yeah.
Were we going to have some discussion before we put it or not?
That was the giver in your report.
Oh, the giver.
Mm.
Sorry, Councillor Meagle. All in favour? Aye. Against? Carried.
Try again. Thank you. Ballpark caravan park is report 6.6. The councils have been through, I think, 2 workshops now on, I guess, the precinct over there, which is the ballpark caravan park and the swimming pool complex. The report outlines there, it's got some reasonably lengthy information in there, but I guess the summary is that the Federation Council manages for the Crown Land the area known as the ballpark caravan park. Council has offered this as a lease opportunity to caravan park operators for decades, and the term of the current lease ends on the 30th of June 2018. The lease includes the operation of the Corrow swimming pool, which is a facility now at the end of its operational life. Council's been continuing to plan and raise funds for the construction of a new swimming pool complex in Corrow. So as part of all that process, Council engaged consultants, Odeum Planning Group, to complete a study on the ballpark caravan park and the swimming pool, seeing it as a whole of precinct approach, which would help provide Council with a clear direction in respect to the future development and the operation models of both facilities. So background's there. Looks like the most recent presentation was to a Council workshop on the 27th of November 2017. A draft report has been prepared, but it's not attached to the agenda as it contains potentially commercially sensitive information, and we're in an open session and completion of a future tender. But I guess the report outlined a number of matters that the council want to work towards to get a really good new model down the track, I guess. So this recommendation's recommending that council at the end of this current term lease that put in place a much shorter 2-year caretaker contract model to manage the ballpark caravan park. It's a complex scenario in regard to the pool, so the council will be receiving reports January and February to continue to get an end result on the decision on the swimming pool for Corrow. And this concept of the 2-year thing that the councils have been made aware of and recommended towards is to, I guess, formally allow the consultant who's leading this design of the new model, even for the shorter term, to endorse that, to give us the staff the authority to go ahead and start preparing that, because time's of the essence, and we need to really give the market a chance to apply for the new 2-year solution as well. So over that 2-year time, I guess the idea is that there'll be some changes around trying to get some much increased data, so council would have a more, I suppose, direct control or information on the on how that caravan park operates financially, and also some really good involvement around the future design and layout of that precinct so that it can best maximise itself into the future. And there'll be a lot of business disruption, obviously, because the new swimming pool being out of action has a great impact, as we're aware, on the ability of that whole complex to operate financially. So that needs to be considered in any new 2-year contract. So there's a lot more detail in here around funding, which I'll leave for I know the council's been across it, but recommendation there. If we get that, we can move forward on some questions. Or
Councillor Meagle.
Move the recommendation.
Seconded by Councillor Law. Questions? Councillor Meagle.
Just a comment, Mr. Mayor. What pool saga has been going on for a long time, and the project's now becoming bigger than Ben Hur as we take a much more strategic approach to it. Big decisions, big amount of money. The best way to make good decisions is to have the information. I don't think the council has the information that it requires yet to make those decisions, and I think this 2-year contract will hopefully allow us to have much better information to make a much better decision.
Councillor Longmire.
If I may, Mr Mayor, I'd like to ask a question. Is there an opportunity or has there been discussions held with the current lessees of the caravan park? And why I ask that question is that in the presentation that was done at the How Long workshop, there was lots of information given in regard to what the consultant was aware of, but there were some missing factors in regard to what Council quite rightly now is asking for in regard to a backdating of the funding that came through the caravan park. Would it not be appropriate at some stage between now and the consideration of where we go at the end of the current lease to give the current lessees the opportunity to do a presentation before council committee, perhaps a policy and resource meeting or a workshop? I'd ask the question of council what they feel about that through you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Longmire, yeah, absolutely. I do want to just bring to your attention just to make sure that we're on the same page. We did workshop this in Urena at length. Please quote me if I'm wrong, but I thought our intention on that day was continue the if possible the current lease for a period of 2 years.
Correct.
And I believe, I think personally with some resourcing I've done, that it is possible through the Crown Lands to continue put that lease into practice. But to continue with the current owners, the current lessees, so that council could get this in, work with them to get this information and improve, because we flagged that there was financial implications to council with assets that belong to the current lessees. So we felt it's a big risk for the council to take to go out and advertise. It could be financially devastating to council. So was that not our intention on the day? Councillor Lord.
I would like to suggest that, yes, that was the suggestion, but of course we will have to negotiate long and hard.
Yes.
And we can say that that's our intention, but if it's not the current caretaker's intention, then it's finished. So I do believe it needs quite a bit of negotiation before we can make this.
I might just add, if I could add for clarity as well, the current lease it's at the end of its 10 years in June, so there's no extension clauses, so just for clarity for Councillor Longmire too.
Yeah.
So the new 2-year contract, apart from being different, is the only way forward for any management, and obviously we're in open session, so we're not going to go in and out of the current contractors, but we've had discussions with those along those lines too. So.
Councillor Longmire, I'm sorry, did I answer your question?
If I may, Mr Mayor, seek permission of the mover and the seconder for an amendment in regard to the opportunity to foreshadow the opportunity that discussion opportunity be given to the current lessees.
So there's that amendment. Do we have a seconder?
Yeah.
We've got a seconder. Councillor White.
Just under those conditions.
We'll get the words up.
Yeah, so just put an amendment.
I just felt, I think what you're saying, it's a bit loose as far as that direction.
Yeah, I think it codifies the intention, what I believe happened at the workshop, and I think, in general, the agreement or the consensus was with the council that they would have an opportunity to discuss with the current lessees, and at the end of the day there might be something.
Let's have a look at the wording of that. I'm sorry, the mover was Councillor Meagle. Councillor Meagle, you might...
Longmire and Blanchard.
I'll move the amendment, seconded by Councillor.
Yeah, before I put it, I was going to say...
You've got to do the amendment first.
That's right.
Yeah, and I thought maybe the mover might actually fit working into the motion rather than amendment.
We'll see the wording.
So you want to add, just get Councillor Longmire to add the words to the point, you want to add another point to that motion.
Yeah.
And it's up to the mover and second if they want to accept that.
That's right, that's correct.
Or you
Absolutely.
amend it.
Thank you, Mr General Manager.
Well, you just have to read it what
So
it
just
says.
do what
here,
you're trying to add.
see it from here.
Councillor Longmire, wording, please.
Yeah. So you want to investigate the opportunity to work with the current contractors for a
That's
further
correct.
2-year period.
That's correct. If somebody can read that out for me, I'm sorry, I'm...
Presentation to it.
Yeah, presentation to us, and that's right.
Well, actually, instead of work, put utilise. Yeah. The current contractors for a further 2-year period.
Was it you seconded?
Is that somewhere near?
I think so. Just read it out when it's completed, please.
So, we've kept the other two in there. Well, the recommendation is, as moved, was at the end of the current ballpark caravan park lease term, council puts in place a short 2-year caretaker contract model to manage ballpark caravan parks. That was the first point, moved and seconded. And then you're proposing that this go in as well, being that council investigate the opportunity to utilise the current contractors for a further 2-year period.
Can we move that, put that in the same motion, or do you want to amend it?
I think it doesn't actually describe the fact that we want a presentation or an interview with the current lessees as well.
Councillor Law.
Can I say, I feel that we need to vote on the first motion, recommended at the end of the current ballpark.
Yeah.
Lease term, council puts in
I agree.
a place for a short-term 2-year caretaker, and then we can have a second motion to say that we, if they are interested, we would like the ballpark people to make a presentation to us.
If that be the case, how about we go with the amendment, and we won't have to vote on it? See, the first motion's up.
Yeah.
Okay, we've moved it. And then the amendment came in. So we need a seconder for the amendment. And if we get that, we'll just vote on the amendment, as long as it covers what you're feeling. You don't think it covers it, or would you want?
You can't do it.
Yes,
It's
you
not.
can. You can take an amendment.
Yeah, but
not
the amendment is not involved with the first motion.
No, it's not.
Okay, well,
It's separate to the first motion.
For clarity, Mr Mayor, I agree with Councillor Law. If they'd like to vote on the first one and then we move a second motion sequent to that, is that acceptable?
Okay, that's fine. All right.
I'll retract the amendment and we'll go forward with that.
All right.
Sorry to confuse you.
It'll make it simple anyway. Okay, so the first motion on the motion of legal and law is, we'll put it all in favour. Okay. Against? Carried.
Further motion too. Anyone new motion?
Yep. Moved by Councillor Longmire.
And I think Councillor Whitechoose seconded it.
And seconded by Councillor
But
Whitechoose.
the wording, what we want.
Yeah.
So just to read out what we had.
I can't say it.
So the council investigate the opportunity to utilise the current contractors for a further 2-year period, and invite the contractors who are going on the lines of inviting them to present to council.
Do a presentation to council.
It's got the period.
What is?
That's what you want to say, or you just want to do it?
2-year period, and invite the current contractors to present to council. I think the key word there, if I may, Mr Mayor, is investigate, because there would be, as mentioned a bit earlier, legal aspects and
That's
that
correct.
cover.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr Mayor, just if I can, and regarding the motion with Councillor Longmire of second, I think the current contractor needs to know what's on the table as well. I mean, we're asking to put a presentation to council in light of the 2-year contract, but I don't think it's fair to expect the current contractor to put a presentation forward when we really don't know, or we may know, what is going to be in that 2-year contract. I think that the current contractor needs to know the whole picture before they can put a presentation to us, so then we can discuss.
That's why the first motion.
Yeah, so that's got to be conveyed.
That's fair comment, Councillor Whitechurch. So, is there enough clarity there in that first motion, in that motion, or not? Would you, do you want to amend that?
Not an amendment.
Okay. Anyway, the amendment is,
Not an amendment, it's a
oh, the
motion.
new motion, I'm sorry. Yeah. Council puts in place a short-term caretaker contract model to manage ballpark caravan park. Would you like to leave that off the table at the moment, the presentation, due to the not knowing the point that Councillor Whitechurch is with Councillor Longmire?
Just trying to get.
No, we need to hold a meeting with them to explain.
And I
what
think
our
they
ideas
need
are,
to,
if they agree.
in support of Councillor Whitechurch, as a seconder, I think the intention is to get for the presentation to be done in a sequence of what the understanding is coming from council.
Yep.
So we need to meet with them.
So would someone like to move an amendment?
No, it's not,
No.
not an amendment.
So So are you happy with it?
Just vote on it.
The opportunity to utilise the current contractor for a 2-year period and invite the current contractors to present to council. You're actually asking them to, we're trying to first of all see if they're available for the, if we can make that work legally, and then present to council. Council legal.
English Mayor, it's possible that this can be handled at a council level, and if, rather than having formal motions, that the intent of the council is to meet with the contractors to get a better understanding in the interim, and that can happen at a council workshop or something, but it probably doesn't need, with all due respect to the mover and seconders, that we don't need a formal motion, but that the council officers understand the intent to work through the interim period in a constructive manner.
I'm sorry, Mr Mayor, if the opportunity is to move the motion, I've moved it and been seconded. Yes, the intent is to have that meeting. Yes. Yeah, is to have that meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll put it up. Happy to put?
Yes, thank you.
All in favour? Against? Carried.
And further on that one.
No further on that.
So down to
6.8.
Done 6.7, we're on 6.8. Mobile press.
It was just in the wording, Councillor.
Yeah, that was at the front of the meeting.
Is it morning tea time yet?
Would you like it to be?
It's usually 10:30, isn't it?
We've been having.
Did you want a break? Councillors, how do you feel? Would you like a break? 5-10 minute break?
Is that a formal opportunity, Mr Mayor?
If you'd like to make it one, Councillor.
If I'd like to move that we have a 10-minute break,
So you'll move
morning tea that's been proposed, if that's available through the General Manager and the staff.
Move to suspend standing orders.
Standing orders.
Moved by Councillor Longmire, seconded by Councillor Law. All in favour?